Yeah, it's good to be back at Van Gaalen's. Grew up riding these routes as well. It's my home territory, so yeah, maybe you can pull one out of the bag. They'll see. I'm looking forward to it.
Yes, I definitely wouldn't miss it for the world. I've always loved Van Gaalen's, and I really am a true mountain biker at heart, so it's nice to come back to my roots.
Yeah, it's a good morning here at Van Gaalen. It's always chilly, before the sun comes out, but yeah, it heats up as we start climbing. Yeah, we've again, got our 4 riders here, and I think it's someone else's turn. Maybe it's my turn to take the win, but yeah, I mean, we've got the numbers again, and it's an exciting route, and yeah, we'll definitely go flat out.
I feel very nervous today. I don't know why. I never raced in Van Gaalen's. I know it's quite hard, so it's going to be a great race, I think. There's a lot of ladies this morning, so it's going to be quite interesting, I think.
The Ford Trailseeker series plays an important role in sustaining the marathon racing scene in South Africa, particularly through these winter months. And the top riders responded to the call to race, coming out in full force. Van Gaalen's has been on the calendar for well over a decade, and for good reason. It's a seriously tough race with a massive variety of creative terrain, not to mention some very challenging climbs.
Yeah, for sure. I think the first 30 Ks looks quite rough. I think definitely group is going to form the first half, and then it's quite a drag race. The second half with a nice kicker there close to the end. So yeah, I've got to save the legs for that last one and be ready for a sprint. I think it's probably going to come down to that.
Yeah, the elevation is a lot more today, so I think the tactics that we had there at Sondela might not play out as well. But yeah, full team, 4 riders, 14 Ks from the start. I think I'm going to try and go there. Solo to the end, hopefully. Just don't tell anyone else.
True to his word, Michael used the first climb of the race to launch his attack. It was a brave move, as there were still around 50 Ks to race. But his teammates were his allies in the chase group. Keegan Bontekoning of Insect Science and Ernie Roots had to do all the work, as Jaden Turlo and Peter de Toy, as well as Phil Bass, were content to have Foster up the trail. It was express speed in the chase. But young Roots, a consistent top 10 finisher who was racing in his 5th event of the series, needed an ally. Bontekoning was weary of pushing too hard too early, knowing the terrain to come could do some damage, and also wanting to have something in the tank for a potential sprint finish. Foster, though, was on a mission as he powered on. Born and raised in the dairy and timber farming region near Kopa in KwaZulu-Natal, he was in tune with his bike and body, flying through the second water point with an ever-growing advantage. Bontekoning did his share of the work in the chase, as Turlo stuck rigidly to his back wheel. Over the years, the Van Gaalen's route has developed a reputation as one of the gnarliest in Gauteng, with the infamous snakebite trail a real race ruiner for many a rider. Well, this year the race director had found an alternative.
Yeah, I think snakebite was always quite a hectic trail. The rocks, you've got to watch for snake bites on your tires, punctures. Yeah, the last few years I've been here, you ride along there and then suddenly your oak has got a puncture and he's out of the race. Yeah, so with that out, yeah, I think it's going to be a lot closer, a lot more interesting maybe.
I was actually quite looking forward to it, so I was like, oh, they've taken it out. But I'm actually excited to see the changes. It's always nice to do something different, something new. Yeah, I think it's going to be a really good race.
The strength and depth in the elite women's field was clear, and it ensured that 7 riders were together over the first half of the race. Hill, Walters, Booger and Skippers and Griffioen among them.
I'm so excited to play in the single track. I'm 100% with the depth of the field. It's so nice to see a trailseeker like Van Gaalen's bringing the best of the best here. This is why I want to be here, is because I want to be pushed and challenged, and I want to race as hard as I can. I don't want this to be an easy one.
Boogerin has done all but one of the races so far this year, while Hill was back after missing the Bosveld and Sondela. The complete cyclist rider won round 2 at the cradle, while Bianca Hoare and Sam Sanders, who were absent this week, won those 2 rounds respectively. Hill was riding her own race, clearly happy to do the work on the front, confident that she could keep a good tempo and wait for the later climbs to make her move. Bougarin eventually slipped off the group, and Nicolette Krofioen, second on the overall standings, began closing in on the series leader's red jersey. In the men's race, it appeared as if young Michael Foster's visit to the casino was paying off. He was up front and on his own. Turlo was still playing passenger and policeman in the chase group, as Roots and Bontekoning did all they could to try and close the gap to Foster. The quartet avoided the corrugations as best they could by hugging the smoother line on the left of the road. They were closing in on the final climb. There was an attack by Roots and Bontekoning, but Turlo and then De Toy turned up their turbos and chased them down. Up at the finish at Van Gaalen's Cheese Farm, it was Michael Foster who collected his winnings at the roulette table, a very impressive solo win by the 22-year-old.
Yeah, my coach told me to go sort of about 14 k's. There's a bit of a drag up. And I just went up there and then hold the pace for as long as I could. There were a few climbs sort of, I think on the new 4K little loop that I couldn't ride up them. I had to run up some of them. So it was good. The plan worked. Great day.
And a few minutes later, his teammates De Toy and Turlo won a thrilling sprint to complete a top 3 clean sweep for Paga Eurosteel.
Yeah, I don't think we hit the front until this last 200 meters, for like almost the whole race. We try to make it hard on some of the climbs. I don't know what this last climb is called, but really put the hammer down there. Got a bit of a gap, but the guys were super fast on the downhill. So kudos to them. And then it came down to a sprint. And well done to Mike, he rode a fantastic race.
Yeah, no, perfect day for us. 1, 2, 3. Michael, next level today. We're definitely the strongest guy out there. I think I struggled a bit with the altitude today. I was just dangling there. I'm sure I'm the most dirty of all of us here.
The only one missing was team boss Philip Bass, who cruised home around a quarter of an hour after his young bucks. 4 minutes and 28 seconds was Michael Foster's winning margin over his teammate. Ernie Roots was just too strong in the sprint for Keegan Bontekoning of Insect Science. Evergreen Jan Vitar was 12 seconds clear of Daniel Kortzer in 6th. Keegan Tullis and Peter Corky claimed 8th and 9th ahead of Bass in 10th. True to form, the magnificent Bachalisberg Mountains proved pivotal in the women's race. Complete cyclist Sarah Hill had taken the lead in the hills. Steph Walters was holding on to second place. The battle for third place on the trail was turning into a tussle between the overall series leader and second place Nicolette Krofioen. Tanya Bougarin was taking on nutrition, a vital aspect of any racer's strategy. They were watching each other very closely. Something they could not see was the figure of Sarah Hill. She was keeping a very strong and steady tempo. She powered along the wide dirt roads through the farmlands. No threat from behind, she just needed to keep it safe for the remaining kilometres. The dry, dusty trails and roads play havoc with the drivetrains, but always moving efficiently on Sarah's bike. She was not going to hold her momentum to loop her chain now. A fine rower while at St. Stithians College in Randburg, Sarah cut her teeth as a bike racer while at Brevard College in North Carolina. Her journey has seen her race for the American Live Factory racing team. While not racing or training nowadays, Sarah is a mountain bike coach in Johannesburg. She was in a class of her own on this warm winter's morning, and was more than chuffed to take the win in round 5 of the Ford Trailseeker series at Van Gaalen's, finishing the 70 kilometres in 3 hours and 5 minutes.
Yeah, I think that that climb to the QRM was definitely where I got hurt. I was sitting quite data-oriented, like watching my Garmin, watching my numbers, and I just thought, I got 10 watts more, let me go. I got another 10 watts more, let me go. And eventually I was like, let me see if I can just hit a certain number and see what happens. And it was really nice to ride like that for a change. I was trying to control the controllables.
Yeah, I went, so I was with Sarah by the Queen of the Mountain. She just planned her little attack a little bit better than mine at the end there. So I lost wheel, and then just try to keep closing that gap, but I could keep it in my sights for, I think it was up to about 30-40 Ks, and then yeah, pretty much just time trialed myself. I knew the other girls are always coming for you, so just kept saying to myself, keep going, and yeah, had an amazing day.
Didn't go too hard in the beginning, let the front girls get away, and then the course got quite technical towards the end. Nice, long, sustained climb, and yeah, I really enjoyed it. Managed to get back into third place and just hang on to the end.
All smiles and celebrations for the top riders at Van Gaalen's. And a bubbly shower. The spoils of victory. In the end, Sarah Hill's margin of victory was just more than 8 minutes over Walters. Nicolette Griffioen was just over 3 minutes ahead of Tanya Bugarin, who in turn held off a strong finishing Adrian Mulman to take 4th place. Carly Schiepers put in a solid ride to take 6th, and Monique Gunn closed out the top 10. After 5 rounds of the Ford Trailseeker Series, Paiga Eurosteel's dominance of the last 4 rounds is reflected in the overall standings in the men's category. Their top 3 riders all very close, though. It could be very tight when we go to Wellington for the final round. In the women's category, Nicolette Griffioen has been the model of consistency. Whilst not winning a race yet, she's finished well inside the top 5 regularly enough to put her just ahead of Tanya Bugarin in the women's standings.
All right, so what makes Van Gaalen's very unique to other trail parks is that we cross over 30 private landowners. We don't have a lot of trail ourselves, so the community has opened up their spaces and they share it with the public to come out and ride in both the Witwatersrand and the Magaliesberg, so it's quite special. I think we've got elevation, and elevation sometimes gives that a bit of a grit feeling when you're coming to Van Gaalen's. I don't think they come here thinking it's the easiest one of the series. So it's a true mountain biking space. We've been doing it for many, many years, and we really love the sport MTB. We really want to promote it, and people, I would say mountain biking tends to go towards flatter, softer riding, where Van Gaalen's wants to stay true to itself, and still when you finish the day, I want you to think, yo, that was tough, but it was awesome.
With a combination of great weather, a well-organised and vibey race venue, and a fantastic variety of trail options, Round 5 of the Ford Trailseeker Series at Van Gaalen's was the most popular one so far this year, with some 1,800 riders taking part across the 5 events. It really does cater for all ages and skill levels.
What an incredible day it's been here at Van Gaalen, and what an incredible day of racing. Close on 2,000 athletes across the 4 events, and let me tell you, the action was on point. The racing has been incredible. So good to see so many kids with their parents enjoying that 10 and 20k environment. Well done to the athletes in the 40k. Next time we'll see you will be the 7th of September. That'll be in the Western Cape at Wellington for race number 6 of the Ford Trailseeker. Don't miss it. We'll see you there.